experience a life full of an incorruptible peace, love, joy, kindness, long-suffering, meekness, as your heart becomes persuaded that you're the possessor of an incorruptible life, and that life has conquered every word of death that could ever come to you. Because as your heart's persuaded of that, every time the corruption in this world tries to come and condemn you, the word of the incorruptible life you have condemns that word.
That's right.
And it happens supernaturally inside of you. And if you can never take on a word that says you're separated from life or you lack life, man, guess what? You're going to be a happy fool.
That's right.
You're going to be a happy fool. The only thing that could ever take your joy is for you to swim with the word that says somehow you're separated from life, or you're somehow separated from what is needed to have life, or in some area you lack life. That's the only way your joy can be taken.
Yeah.
That's why the joy of the Lord can never be taken. That's why for the joy set before him. What joy? The glory and immortality that God promised him when before the beginning of time. That joy, that sustained him, man. That thing couldn't be conquered. You know what that joy did? It shrunk the death that came knocking on his door. Mm-hmm. Death came knocking on his door, and he had the promise of an incorruptible life. And then he looked around and said, that life is in me. Oh my goodness. And that life is that life which has been from the beginning. Oh my goodness. And this life that's in me, man, even should this flesh I have die from this death and darkness that's upon me, this life I have in me will even raise up this mortal body. It shrunk the death.
Yes.
Do you see the promise of glory and immortality that Jesus had in his heart through the Holy Spirit dwelling in him, reminding him of the words of the Father that were from the beginning? What it did was it condemned the word of the death that he was experiencing on the cross was bringing to him. It condemned it. It came and it made it naught. It made it nothing.
That's right.
It shrunk it down.
Yeah.
That death looked real ominous. And then the Spirit came and was like, guided Jesus into the truth about the life that he had,
yes,
that he has with the Father from the beginning. And that shrunk that word of death that was trying to bring condemnation. Mm-hmm. You see, when we've lost sight of this aspect of the gospel, because we've been so sidetracked with we suck or we don't suck.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right, totally.
I mean, we're so persuaded
Yes,
of how
right,
lovely and you know, despised we are of God, which would also be a form of death,
yeah,
but isn't the nitty-gritty of death. Because that would still be a word that you lack a good report. Right? So we could still feel great joy at hearing that. But I'm telling you, this thing, where you become saved from the corruption in the world in every area, man, that thing will cause you to start floating.
You bet. You bet.
That's why